Look at him! He's gonna tear immigrants to parts with his bare hands.
Me personally, I play life on legendary mode. I play entrepreneurship and business on legendary mode. So if any god is listening to this, please reduce the difficulty to very hard.
Remember this guy, the golden one? This guy's hilarious. He's like a fucking Nordic alt-right guy, loves whites. You know, talks about how Hitler was actually concerned with the international jury, not individual Jews. That's a classic for him. Anyway, apparently he's done a video ebegging. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is incorrect. But dude, there's a lot of support in the fucking replies, so maybe it is.
Alright, as you see in the title of this video, I messed up big time. Now, at first I wasn't sure if I should make this video or not, because I know my detractors, they will laugh at me.
So what I'm hearing, what I'm getting from the inspirational things he had to say is that he's a content creator. I think I finally get it.
Thank you, Kelly, for the super chat. No, this is not a parody. This guy is fucking... Dude, this guy's for real. I know he looks like he's like a joke or something. He is very serious, right? As much as some of you might not like this because it's fucking lefty retard shit. H Bomber Guy did a very funny video about him. Okay, I'd really recommend that video. It is quite funny. Even though H Bomber Guy is a fucking gay or whatever. He is on the level, serious. He's got all these wacky views about race and shit.
But it's okay, you can laugh at me, you can laugh at my misfortunes if it makes you happy. Now, anyway, I wanted to make this...
I gotta be honest with you. I find that quite personable, I must say. Immediately, even if he's doing some sort of grifty ebeg, I don't know what he's gonna say. I find this way more personable than fucking Innuendo Studios, just saying that up front. It's actually quite, you know, humanizing, I'd say.
This video for two reasons. First and foremost, to ask for support, and secondly, to rant a bit about the situation, because I know I am hardly the only one in this particular situation, and it bears talking about. Need to talk about the situation. Many young people find themselves in, and I'm hardly the one in the worst situation after all. So I want to use this opportunity to share my own misfortunes, but also to highlight the misfortunes of many others. So by the way, I'm in Sweden now. There are nations that are a lot worse off, so UK, Ireland, Spain, etc. So I'm talking about the housing situation. Now first, you might ask, what on earth has happened to me? Why am I in a bad situation? Yes, so last year I was in a bad situation also, actually. In that situation I managed to turn around in a really good way. Almost too good, almost too well. So I
mean, this guy I think has got, in some ways, I'd imagine a different problem, because I can't imagine people watch this guy much anymore. His most popular videos he was pulling in, I mean, to be fair, this is only from like a year ago, 8 months ago. Oh wait, hang on a sec. Look, this is the kind of thing he gets up to. Dude, it's so good. Or not, bro. Look at him go. I think he is quite strong. Now he needs to ruin his genetic line by race mixing. That will not be happening. Don't you worry, okay? This guy wouldn't be seen dead next to a fucking person of any sort of tone in their skin. Whites only need apply. I'm not even fucking joking. This guy's seriously on that shit, I think. But you can see a lot of his videos. I mean, to be fair, this one did okay. 423k views is pretty good. Why I hate porn. But yeah, a lot of his videos I think are from a while ago. So yeah. How to spot a fake natty, the signs. You get the gist. Anyway, I'm surprised. I thought he'd be in a lot worse kind of viewership than he is. He's still putting in like 10k views or so a video.
Turn it around so well that I actually managed to get a loan for a house. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be nice for my beloved 2 daughters to have a garden to play with and a house to live in instead of being stuck in a small apartment? Now, of course, yes, you can play in the street as well, but Sweden today, it's not quite the same as it was when I grew up, so it's not a risk I'm willing to take. Second point, I wanted to have a studio for myself, an office for myself, so that I can make more videos, make videos basically every day, because now I seem to no longer be shadow banned on YouTube, and we also, for the first time in a long time, we have a bit more freedom of speech. So a golden opportunity to really intensify the metapolitical game. And also, by the way, if you've invited me to interviews and collaborations and streams, etc., I've said that now it's not a good time, and it's not been a good time for a long time. But now, God's willing, if I manage to turn this situation around, yeah, then I can probably be more active in that regard as well. So anyway, that is what I thought, and when I signed the contract and everything like that, everything looked solid and stable and good, and it was based on a sound calculation, so I didn't do anything rash or anything like that. But then, lo and behold, of course, because why not, many private expenses started to hit me at that particular moment at the same time as company expenses.
I guess the difficulty I have with this explanation is it makes it sound like this is all unforeseen. Well, what possible things are coming that are unforeseen of this nature that are that overwhelming? It's like, yeah, private expenses hitting you out of nowhere. Like, this just comes across as poor money management if you're not understanding what your outgoings are going to be. Like, your outgoings should be understood, and you should know what they are, roughly. And then you've got to have an assessment of what's affordable, what isn't. So I'm a bit suspicious of this overwhelming, like, oh, yeah, there are all these expenses I had all of a sudden. Well, no, you would surely know what they are. How are you surprised by these expenses exactly?
It's just how it goes sometimes. So anyway, that is the
Is it? Is it really? Well, no, I thought he took a mortgage. Wait, hang on. Did he say that when he says loan, does he mean that he took a mortgage out, or does he mean he took a loan for a deposit for a house? Am I misunderstanding? I would have thought that if you took out a loan for a deposit for a house, that would probably prevent you from getting a mortgage. Because that would maybe make more sense. Because if you take a loan out, yeah, I don't know how the fucking Swedish mortgage system works, but I would have thought that, particularly after like the 2008 financial crisis, you would not be able to do that sort of business anymore. He must mean the mortgage. He's got to mean the mortgage, surely. This guy's in Sweden. Oh, he's claned it. Yeah, I claned the deposit for my house, and that was all blown up in my face.
Situation at hand. So now, of course, if you do want to support me, you can head over to legiogloria.com, place a big order there, and we'll get in a better situation, hopefully.
Okay. So to be fair to the guy, if he's running a website, that could entail business expenses. I mean, the thing is, you would know what they are, though. Still. Right? You'd still have some insight into what that's going to be. I don't know, dude. I'm a bit skeptical. You guys, listen. It's nothing to do with any politics. I don't fucking care if this guy's the next coming of Adolf Hitler. It doesn't matter to me. This is all about fairly assessing what we think of what he's presenting to us. Made in Europe. Oh, don't worry. Don't worry, guys. A white woman stitched this. You don't need to worry. No brown hands have touched this garment. Fear not. Very based. I will say, to be fair, this is actually... I do give credit for this, because there's so... I mean, that fucking Asian gay fella that does fashion on Twitter, he was pointing this out. But a lot of these like rightoids who bang on about how important America First is, you know, and how tariffs are good because it's going to promote American products and shit, they all outsource their manufacturing to like China for their merch and shit like that. So I must say, credit to him, at least he's consistent in his perspective about keeping it within the whites, you know? Thy work wears Asian. Yes, he's Asian, correct. How do I know more about him than you do? I thought you were a fucking gay lefty. Shouldn't you be into all of that? I know more about that guy than you. But dude, these names as well, dude. The Temple of Iron. The Quest for Glory. Dude, it's so based. Dude, look at this guy. He's so fucking... Jesus. European aesthetics. But to be fair, the one thing I would say is I'm really skeptical with this narrative he's presenting that this is all due to unforeseen, unreasonable costs. Because that's the hallmark of a poorly managed business. I'm sorry, Chud, I don't go out of my way to racially analyse total shitters that cease to exist the moment I shut down the computer. Wait, what? What do you mean? Well, no, it's not that you should racially analyse people. It's just, you know, if you were like a lefty that's on the internet, I would have thought you'd have some idea that this fucking, you know, Taylor guy's Asian, because it's like it's a well-known enough thing that at least I'm familiar with it. Being the most generous, a sudden money issue could be a health issue, car breakdown, or serious house repair, or major appliance replacement. Well, I'm glad you're giving him the grace of that. But he would probably hate you because of your race. So it's very good of you to actually be gracious to say that. I mean, this stuff all looks fine, I guess. I just, you know, it's probably quite... Maybe he's got like a loyal group of people that purchase this stuff. But outside of his viewership, I mean, how would you go about pushing this and promoting this? It's probably quite tough. But yeah, I think, regardless of what the circumstances are, there's some sort of negligent management of his business that's happening here. Because I don't see, unless there's not people ordering, which is, again, one of those things. Let's listen on.
So anyway, that is my situation. Now, before I begin to talk about the more general topics of this video, I want to mention something that I also mentioned in Demigod Mentality, so perhaps you already know this, but I want to have it said for good measure. I am intelligent enough and driven enough to have been able to pursue a normie career, a safe and sound career in the mainstream.
Okay.
I could also have picked a path of fame that entailed not talking about certain controversial topics, such as the Great Replacement, for example. I could have been a light conservative, you know, mildly criticizing socialism and transgender ideology, something like that. That would also have been a quite safe path, or indeed just a fitness path. You can make a lot of money if you steer.
I have found your channel yesterday. What's the point in ridiculing and counter-signaling white identitarianism, but not having the same enthusiasm when talking about other people's identitarianism? Right. So you found my channel yesterday, and you're assuming that I wouldn't mock and ridicule other people's identitarianism. Maybe you should just shut the fuck up and watch my channel for a bit before you decide that I'm sat here mocking this guy for his white identitarianism, and then if some black person was saying the same nonsense, I'd be like, yeah, so based, King. We should have a separate state for the blacks. You're absolutely right.
Clear of certain controversial topics. Anyway, I chose the path of truth, of honor. So my haminga is really strong, at least, so I have that. But anyway, my point here, what I want to say is that I've given up a lot of financial success to make an impact metapolitically, and this is the price you pay.
See, this is tricky because I do actually agree that this guy I mean, dude, there are clips of him out there talking about how Hitler was misunderstood and that, you know, he didn't mind individual Jews. It was international Jewry that he actually took issue with. Like, this guy says his mind. He doesn't fucking mince his words. Let's put it that way for the sake of TOS, right? So you got to kind of give some credit for that. But I think the cope comes in when you're acting like that is the reason for your financial issues now, especially considering he's still got a channel on YouTube. Like, I don't think you saying crazy shit on the internet is the root of your problem. It sounds like you've got other financial issues that are affecting this that aren't just to do with you saying wacky shit. You know?
I don't have any regrets. I've never had any regrets about anything. If I were to have regrets, this would be the moment. But yeah, anyway, I don't do it because ultimately the future of our civilization is at stake. So now it's not the time to play it safe. Anyway, I wanted to have that said. And to give an example, I've been demonetized on YouTube since 2019. I believe I'm no longer...
To be fair, I'll be fair. That was a pause, Andy. That is going to diminish his income. Fair enough. So I was looking at his viewership. So yeah, that is probably no doubt because of a crazy shit he said on YouTube. So fair enough. I did pause Andy in. That is going to obviously negatively impact him in that respect.
Shadow banned here on YouTube, but yeah, I still can't get any ad revenue. It is what it is. It's not a big deal. It's a price I'm willing to pay to do the right thing by my people. So anyway, enough about my own misfortunes.
Yeah, I think that, you know, the reality is you do have to make a choice. And if you are making a choice that you're going to say whatever you want and not care about TOS, well, yeah, you're making that decision knowingly. So it's like, and to be fair, he's not complaining about it, so I can't really say much beyond that, but you are going to have to accept that, yeah, you might get fucked because they are coming for you. But yeah, fair enough. Okay, this guy's actually quite reasonable, I think. Beyond all the crazy racist shit he says, I think he's actually fairly reasonable here. I think there is some cope happening. I think he probably is a bit... What's the right word? I don't know, man. I just don't buy this idea of like his unforeseen financial things coming together. He isn't racist. Okay,
but how do I make money after?
Okay, he's raceful.
It is true, in fact, that Hitler was so misunderstood that the trains full of people were actually destined for Disneyland.
Thank you for the super chat. To be honest with you, I think the only thing that I would want to see in order to buy into this idea that there's sort of unforeseen expenditure and expenses is some sort of balance sheet or some sort of financial information that lays it out. You know, that would be, I think, the optimum. Because then I think maybe there is a case for that, you know, but I think you need to show financial information to back that up. But another thing I'll say, he's not actually put a GoFundMe, as far as I can tell here. So I don't think it's got quite the same tone of like, oh, please give generously to me. You know, it's more of a, I'm up shit creek. If you want to support me, please do. And then people are supporting him. I think pretty reasonable, I think. Yeah, it's like Innuendo Studios, that other guy, like this is a much more reasonable way of approaching it than putting up a GoFundMe, using something which is normally used for charity purposes to turn it into a charity affair. You know, he's saying, I messed up, I fucked up. Like, it's all about him messing up. You know, I think this is pretty reasonable.
Moving on to a few different things we can talk.
You're being too charitable because you like him. Okay, I genuinely don't think that I've got any sort of bias towards this guy. I'm kind of laughing at his fucking racialized shit. I mean, dude, his actions are different to the other fucking leftoid retards that have done it. So I'm going to judge it differently. I don't think I'm being that generous to him. I'm just fairly assessing what he's putting forward.
About the housing situation. We can talk about why aren't Europeans, why aren't whites having children? Yes, well, probably because they don't have anywhere to live. If you don't have anywhere...
Yes, exactly. Chud is simply making the point this guy seems to carry much more humility and seems actually embarrassed. It did happen, yes. He started talking about why the whites aren't having children, which Listen, I'm not getting into that. There's already a Twitch chatter chomping at the bit for some sort of racialized conversation about, you know, whatever. But Innuendo Studios cried about how much he messed up too. Innuendo Studios has got a video where he talks specifically about the perception of sincerity. And I think that all links in to how he went about presenting his video. Now, maybe this guy's pulling the same tricks. Maybe he's got another video somewhere where he talks about the same shit. But the way this is being presented seems a lot more real and upfront and raw than the gay lefty shit that Innuendo Studios and the others have been doing. He literally brought up the future of civil... I just think you're a fucking soy lefty that can't see the distinction because you're in fact biased. And also, yes, exactly, 0.97 makes a good point. Innuendo Studios, or as he called them, or they called them, Cuck Studios, is monetized and can just make videos. The way out of their problem is to make videos. Whereas this guy can't make any money off of his YouTube channel. So what other option has he got? It seems like he's asked for support and people are giving super chats. Fine. Although I guess you... Well, hang on a sec. You could... I guess there's a way you could be monetized but not have ads running or something. That's got me thinking. So he's in the YouTube partner program, but he's able to run super chats here. You can see he was getting loads of super chats, but he can't run ads. That's a bit unusual. To be fair, it's a little insane to bring that up because he knows it's a sensitive topic to his audience. Yeah, sure, there's maybe a bit of manipulation happening, sure. Is that a thing? I suppose I normally, my understanding of it is you're either in the YouTube partner program or you're not. And if you're not, you can't monetize anything. But it could be, particularly if it was in 2019, there was some sort of custom thing. I don't know. Maybe?
Where to live, if you live in a small apartment, it's not super inspiring for a young couple to have children. Very simple stuff. If you don't have anywhere to live, it's not a good time to have children. So I know...
Yeah, that could be a thing. I'm not familiar with it. But it makes sense. You can run super chats because people are giving you money. YouTube take a cut, whatever. They just don't want ads to be associated with your deranged Hitler posting.
So many people, they say, oh, just have children. But if you talk to a normal young woman, maybe she wants to have children actually, but she doesn't have anywhere to stay. She and her boyfriend, they don't have anywhere to stay. Perhaps they still live at their parents' house because they can't really find anywhere, because the housing market is completely insane and they're being taxed to death to fund housing for foreigners also.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad I held back on that because the thought was forming in my head of, well, at least he's not blaming it on the immigrants, or at least he's not blaming it on the Browns. But I mean, that is, you know, he's kind of doing that, isn't he? You know, and he's not saying it directly, but he's suggesting that they are having some impact in white people's ability to gain housing.
I have some brutal examples in the UK of this really insane stuff. Freshly arrived immigrants, they're getting...
He isn't entitled to make money off his white nationalist views. The only way it would be unfair or censorship is if YouTube suspended his account with chudlogic. I don't think I've made any comment about that at all. I think you've just made up something to respond to me on. Yeah, I mean, if YouTube don't want to run ads on this guy's channel because it's too far... I mean, I've heard this guy say crazy shit. I'm not, yeah, sure. I get it. Very cool take in response to something I didn't even fucking say.
You know, a nice stay at a hotel at the taxpayer's expense. Meanwhile, young British couples, they can't even find anywhere to live. So nothing unique to any place in particular. Maybe it's a bit worse in Ireland and UK and Spain. A bit less worse in Sweden, but still not a good situation. So whenever someone asks why aren't young people having children, it's easy to say, oh, they're so hedonist and they want to be out partying and traveling, but that's not the whole truth. It's a quite convenient excuse to not look at the deeper issue here, and the deeper issue is that they're being taxed to death to finance their own replacement. And
they won't just spend and they'll just turn off viewability. It's called shadow banning. That is, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out completely, but I think that lots of people will point to shadow banning when there's likely other things they are not doing that are negatively impeding their video performance. Shadow banning is a catch-all term that I feel that people use to justify, in some cases, a badly run YouTube channel. Yeah, exactly. People just are failing and they hit the shadow ban button, you know? And also, I don't really buy this idea that he's shadow banned when he's got a video from, well, it says a year, which is any time from a year to 2 years ago. It's got 400,000 views. How the fuck are you shadow banned and you release a video that gets 400,000 views? I mean, come on. Yeah, 12th of April 2024. Yeah, literally just over a year ago. There's no way. You know, whereas this, I mean, just having a look at it, I think that, you know, I mean, you can see the difference, right? I mean, dude, just the way that it's framed. So he's got a video about, you know, people are not going to care about internal party politics of the country. And the way it's framed, it looks like he's just some, I mean, he's like, it's all green. He's blending in with his background. Not particularly compelling, not particularly interesting. Whereas this, he's sat there, big muscular Swede, ready to talk about how fucking there's too many blacks committing crime in Sweden. Clearly, this is a much more compelling, interesting thumbnail title combination that's likely to get more people to click, right? Like, is this shadow banning, or is this just he's not maximizing his videos for clickability? Provocative title, yeah, exactly. Like, it's not shadow banning. It's a, like, if there's no way you're going to convince me that the channel is shadow banned when they get 423,000 views on a video that just so happens to, from my personal perspective, have a much more compelling, you know, image, provocative, compelling image than the other stuff he's putting out, which are getting 10k views, you know? You know, I don't know, something like that. Some of these are from quite a while ago, where it's height. But then he's got this one from 8 months ago. Anyway.
And to finance the housing of others, basically. So deep, brutal, black-pilling topic, but it needs to be discussed. It needs to be discussed. So for any politician who is sincere about turning the demographic trend around, yeah, look at the housing situation. That's the best advice I can possibly give if you want to turn this around. So the next time someone says, oh, European nations need to have mass immigration from the third world to turn this demographic situation around, yeah, well, if you instead start remigrating people, then the housing prices will lower and young people can actually buy a house and therefore they can actually have a family. Very easy stuff. It's not complicated.
Okay, dude. Bro, I don't want to get into all the fucking political stuff here, right? I get that these rightoids are on this remigration fucking trend now. But so, okay, you send the migrants back and the house prices go down. Well, what about the people that currently own those houses? What are they going to do? What's going to happen there, right? Even if we accepted the premise, which I don't even know if that's true, that house prices would just go down. Well, you're going to negatively fuck them. Well, they're the people that are going to be selling the houses. And they're the people that are going to, you know, like, what about, like, fuck them, great, but maybe they don't want to sell because the house value plummets. And also rent, I mean, the price rises because less low-income workers. So you're saying, what happened to rental prices? See, I don't know enough about this to really say for sure. So I don't know the ins and outs of what would happen economically, right? But I think that remigrating a bunch of people would likely have an economic shock that would negatively detriment the market in some way, in ways that the people I don't think are really thinking about, and they're thinking about it along simplistic terms. And it's like you're taking a very big action and you think it's going to have a certain outcome, but there are likely other, and I don't know what they are because I'm not a fucking economist, but there's likely going to be other severe economic impacts, you know, that are likely going to have wide-reaching effects by sending back a bunch of people. I mean, maybe they do it over a sort of staggered period. I don't know how these migration plans work. Filling your country with Pakistanis makes rent cheaper, actually. Well, I'm not saying, just to be clear, I'm not for filling the country with Pakistanis, okay? It doesn't, well, that sounds a bit racist. Any fucking ethnicity or race. I am support reductions in levels of immigration and reducing net migration. I think that's a good policy goal and I'm all for it, right? I'm not saying we need to stuff the country. I'm talking specifically about the broad remigration of groups of people, right? That is the thing that I'm saying could potentially have negative economic impacts. That is what I'm saying could be risky. And why I think that if you're a righty, which I'm not, but if you were a righty, it would make more sense to support something like Reform, which is proposing more reasonable goals with this, rather than the more extremist parties like Homeland, which is suggesting this remigration stuff. But yeah, like I say, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I'm skeptical about the idea that sending back multiple people through this remigration scheme is not going to have like meaningful negative financial consequence.
In the list, it's just someone needs to have the courage to say it. So, dear politicians of Europe, start looking at this, start looking at the housing situation. So that's why people don't want to have children, not necessarily because they're hedonist and they want to be out drinking or whatever it might be. They probably do want to have children, but they don't have anywhere to stay. Now, on a similar note, I wanted to talk a bit about criminality and doing nothing at all. So these young guys, they might look at older guys and they say, if you do everything by the book, if you work hard, you pay your taxes, you're a law-abiding citizen, you try to do everything in a good way, you don't have much to show for it anyway, because you're gonna be taxed to death, and yeah, again, you don't have much to show for it. So isn't it more convenient to go along a path of criminality, which I don't suggest you do it, because you will always be hunted by the police, and it's not good for your haminga and everything.
Also, okay, I think, Hugh, aren't you an economist? Are you talking sense? Construction would become more expensive, which would probably make houses more expensive. Overall, it would be a net negative. Yeah, dude, I don't know the top level shit on this, but it just makes sense to me that economics exists on a certain equilibrium. And as we saw recently with the tariff thing. Oh, by the way, the tariffs, which apparently were being introduced in order to bring about a new era of American products being made. Well, haven't there been like a bunch of high-profile reversals on the tariffs now, like with China, for example? And now people are saying, oh, he got the deals. That's what he wanted all along. Well, a bunch of you didn't say that before. You were saying it was all about bringing back manufacturing to America. So if now they've got deals, well, when is the manufacturing going to come back? And if tariffs were supposed to bring about lower taxes for Americans, when are the tax breaks going to start happening? Well, they're not, are they, if they've got these newfangled deals now? It seems like tariffs, it's whatever sounds good in the moment is what is proposed as the reason for those tariffs. No, it's got nothing to do with this. I just thought of it then. I'm just moaning. I've got Trump derangement syndrome right now, okay? I'm just moaning about it.
Thing like that, so don't go along a path of criminality. That said, I can also understand why some guys, they look at that path, because all of the other paths, they don't really lead anywhere. So if you work hard and if you try to do everything by the book, yeah, you don't get anywhere. And also, I can't really fault these guys who don't have any drive at all. They don't want to do anything, because again, if you try to do a good thing, if you try to work hard, if you try to do everything by the book...
That's quite defeatist, is it not? This comes across as very defeatist from him. I don't agree with this at all. I think that, you know, the malaise that people are experiencing is something that should be strongly rejected. And we still, regardless of how many fucking immigrants or whatever is knocking about, we still live in a society where, as a general rule, if you work hard and push forward, you'll probably succeed and do well, you know? The white race lost the war. You would support Trump and his tariffs if he lied and say that David Koresh was a pederast.
Book, if you're trying to be a good person, yeah, it will not lead anywhere. So why even try? Why even try if you're being taxed to death and all your hard work
Also,
is being
he keeps saying tax to death. Tax to death. What is the fucking tax rate in Sweden exactly? I don't buy this idea that you're being taxed to death. Dude, I wouldn't even know where to begin looking to figure that out. There's probably all sorts of different things you need to take into account. But are Sweden's levels of taxation that much different to other Western nations? Viciously tax raped. Quite high. Okay. The logic is that you get that paid back through public services, which I don't know. Obviously, I've got no fucking idea about Sweden's public services. 52%. What? At the base level of tax, I think that sounds ridiculous. I do not believe that you're getting taxed 52% in Sweden. Maybe at the higher end of the fucking earnings bracket you are. I heard it was 69%. Base level is 33. Right, okay. And what's the, I'm assuming there's a level of tax you don't pay anything on, like 10,000 kroners or whatever.
To fund your own replacement. So where is the motivation? Where is the motivation to do anything really? I don't blame these guys. It's a bad situation. Why try to do anything at all? Now, on a similar note, let's talk about business endeavors. And for me personally, I play life on legendary mode. I play entrepreneurship and business on legendary mode. So if any god is listening to this, please reduce the difficulty to very hard.
Oh, look, a helpful English guide for immigrants. Let's go. Okay. What is tax? Progressive, meaning people who earn more pay more tax, pay income tax. We live. Income tax rates differ, but usually somewhere between 25 and 35% of your income. People who earn incomes over a certain level also pay tax to the state. Okay. Okay, dude, it's too boring to look at. I don't fucking know. I need to grok it, but I can't be fucked.
Hard or moderate or even easy. It would be nice to play life. I play life on legendary mode. I play entrepreneurship and business on legendary mode. So if any god is listening to this, please reduce the difficulty to very hard or moderate or even easy. It would be nice to play life and entrepreneurship and business on easy for a while. I've been playing it on legendary for far too long. So you might ask, why is everything made in the third world? Why are all clothes made in Bangladesh, Pakistan and China? Yes, because it's a lot cheaper. I would know because I get offers all the time from factories. So I know, I can calculate. I know all the prices.
Bro, by the way, this Skyrim thing.
Welcome back to good old Skyrim again. Now the reason I'm making this episode will probably be a shorter one is that I'm trying out a new camera angle because I know that it's more appreciated with a
literal Nord. Literal fucking Nord playing.
So yeah, I'm gonna talk to my true friend, the Juicy Orc of Wisdom. This is my favorite orc, actually. I honored him on Instagram the other day. I said, like, this is my favorite orc. He has a proper respect for books. Hello, mate.
I don't want to see you treating any of these books poorly.
I don't believe Sweden's tax rate is that high. Is it? Well, that's boring. Let's move on. Typical leftoid. People were saying it was 52%, and that website said it was 20 points lower than that. So, what the fuck are you on about? I'm not being a typical fucking leftoid. I looked at it. Yes, it's higher than my country, but it's not 52% like people were claiming. And I didn't want to look into the intricacies of the Swedish tax system. But I saw enough to know that people that were stating higher numbers were talking shit. But generally speaking, yes, it's 30-odd%, which is higher than some other Western nations.
Well, I haven't seen one of these beauties in a long time. A rare
He
find in the
appreciates
original
his
foreign language.
books. He's
You're
a
damn right
confirmed
I'm
true
interested.
friend.
Question
in all
is,
actuality.
are you selling?
Haha.
Considering no one else in Skyrim
I didn't cherry pick anything. I did not believe the idea that it was 52%. Okay? It's as much as 50%. Yeah, but that's under a progressive system. So presumably you only pay that over a certain amount. Anyway, bro, listen, I don't care about the fucking intricacies of the Swedish tax system, okay? It's higher than other Western nations. Boom. That's enough for me. It's not as high as some people were claiming. Fine. That's enough. So yes, he's got some reasonable argument that there's tax raping happening in Sweden. Fine. Yes.
would buy something they couldn't possibly read, I'd say you don't have much of a choice. Tell you what, you bring me books like this.
Bro, this isn't even the best part of this. There's parts of this game where he's running about in the wilderness and he's like beheading random NPCs and bandits.
People?
Trump has just ambushed the South African president in his typical seam bag fashion BTW.
Thank you for the super chats. That could be good fodder for tomorrow's politics segment. Thank you very much for that. But he's running around and he's beheading like random people and going, that is a feminist. That is a male feminist. I just killed the male feminist. It's fucking so funny, dude. The only thing I think is that I can find it in H1 Guy's video. Typical SJW feminist.
I know what it costs to produce. So then you ask, why is it so important for you to have everything made in Europe? Well, yes, because I'm an artist. I want to produce art whenever I release a design. So it's a product which has a value independent of profit. This is the traditional view of work, of craftsmanship and everything like that. So it's important for me because I want to be, as a clothing designer, blessed by the spirit of...
Okay, here it is. You have to excuse the gay soy.
People act. There is, however, the hilarious side effect that self-proclaimed alphas are effectively bragging at how self-important they would act if you locked them in a cage. Which is good to know, since, as you're well aware, that's the goal of feminism. And like all reasonable adults, he likes to roleplay the murder of people who disagree with him in a video game.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's
funny.
How nice. Open up this episode by killing this apprentice of the Frankfurt School.
No, I'm not kidding. He has this Let's Play of
so
Skyrim where he
funny.
runs around killing dudes and says, well, I guess they were a feminist.
Here's another one of those feminists who don't believe in the patriarchy.
I've always felt pretty secure in my masculinity, please don't laugh.
Oh
but apparently if I get any more secure, I'll start killing imaginary leftists in a video game.
It's like the inability to just have a laugh at this without this like smug leftoid condescending tone that H1 Guy's got. It's so annoying. It's funny, dude. It's what an insane funny thing to do. Let's just have a laugh at it.
This Hillary Clinton supporter. Make Skyrim great again.
It's important not to recognize this guy as a dangerous threat to society. He's really not. He's a sad idiot seeking refuge in obnoxious, preening self-aggrandizement for attention and to fabricate a sense of self-worth. Sure, his ideas are ostensibly dangerous, but he channels these ideas into
Oh my god, dude. It's okay, yes. Bro, I just want to laugh at the fucking muscle-bound Nordic dude who's incredibly racist, pretending he's murdering Hillary Clinton in Skyrim because it's funny. Is that too much to ask?
Hugo Boss, I believe I am his spiritual successor, by the way. That's a different topic, but I want to have it said. So I view clothing, as a clothing designer, I view it...
You said this video is good. Yes, because it's got good information in it. Okay? There's like the Skyrim thing. I wouldn't know where else to easily find the funny clips of him playing Skyrim. But it's dressed up with a bunch of annoying leftoid shit. Same with the clips of him talking about Hitler. That's all in the video. But obviously with H-Bomber guy smuckling afterwards and going, ha, this guy thinks Hitler was good. Well, did you know that Hitler was actually bad?
As art. I present an artwork. I present a nice garment. And I want to have it made in Europe by seamstresses I have met. I know they're having a good working conditions. I want it to be made in a good way. I wouldn't be comfortable with having a company with clothes made in a sweatshop. It would be a lot more money, definitely, if I had made it in Bangladesh or whatever. Again, I've done the calculations, and you can still find decent quality in the third world, but I want to have it made in Europe. I want to have it made in Europe because it adds to the value beyond the purely material. So when I see a fit guy with a straight back, he's wearing Legio Gloria, I am happy with my artwork. So it's about art, it's about doing something good. But here also, for anyone...
I mean, the problem, I mean, I think it, generally speaking, is good to try and live up to your principles. So fair enough for doing that. It's just unfortunate that it obviously does create, you know, realities of your business that could, I mean, this is why it gets fucking shipped off. This is why all these fucking magatards ship it off to China, because it's cheaper, obviously, to do that, you know? So it's difficult, because it's like, I respect someone trying to live up to their principles and producing it in a way that fits with their ideology, but it's going to fuck you over, isn't it, really? So yeah, it's pretty well. I mean, but the thing is, if you're upfront about that and you're saying this is why I do this, I don't know. Am I missing? Am I being too nice to the racist? I don't know, dude. Like I think this is a lot more reasonable than any fucking leftoid soy shit that I've seen.
One in a position of power. If you look at why is everyone making everything outside of Europe? Yeah, well, because there isn't really much support, and I'm not even asking for support from any institution, although that would be nice as well, of course. But I'm also just asking to not be hindered, because
it's like breadtubers refusing to get sponsorship because of ideology. Yeah, but it's not the same thing though. The reason it's not the same thing is because they're limiting their financial ability for no good reason, because they run ads on their YouTube channel. So they take sponsorship money in terms of, you know, companies are paying YouTube a fraction of what they get for a sponsorship to run adverts on their channel. So there's no reason or purpose to not take sponsorships, right? Whereas in this case, you are saying that you don't believe or don't agree with the idea of the economic supply chain that exists. So you are intentionally choosing to have goods made in a way that fits in with your ideology. Like, it's foolhardy. I think it's foolhardy and it's stupid if it's going to fuck your business up still. But I don't think it's quite the same in terms of like just a stupid virtue signal cutting your nose off to spite your face. I think that there is like more value or meaning in doing that. And I don't think I've really spoken about it too much. But I think it is a reasonable criticism that people bang on about how bad it is to produce stuff overseas and import it in, and they do exactly that with their merch. So it just feels a bit inconsistent to be like, yeah, that's a fair point against them. And then when someone is doing that, even though it's a bad business decision, I think, to be like, oh no, that's bad to do that as well. Like, what is someone to do then? Either live up, you know, it's probably better to be consistent to your principles from an ideological perspective, but it is obviously going to hurt you financially and from a business perspective. I don't know.
my particular path, it's been non-stop obstacles and attacks. So again, here's also the thing, where can the motivation possibly be when all you're getting is attacked for trying to do a good thing? I'm trying to have a nice ethical business here, made in Europe, good quality items, and yeah, what do I have to show for it? Just getting attacked all the time. I might sound a bit bitter, but perhaps you understand why I am a bit bitter. So anyway, different topic, I might elaborate on it another time, but for me it is important to have it made in Europe. It does cost more, the profits are a lot less, but at least it's something I can be proud of as an artist, as a clothing designer, as a businessman. It's something I can be proud of. I am very proud of everything I've done, even though I'm in a bad situation.
You could have picked a cheaper country in Europe. Yeah, but then it would probably be some Slavs stitching it together, wouldn't it? I mean, is this guy really going to think some Eastern European seamstress is white? I'm not sure about that.
Situation right now. Hopefully we can turn it around, but yeah, we'll see.
Get to work, Romanians, now. No, to me, yeah, that is a fair point. I agree with that. I think that he can adhere to his principles in a way that makes more economic business sense, and he's specifically doing it in a way that is probably extremely hindering to maximizing profit, right? Like, he seems to be doing it on a basis where he knows the seamstress is stitching it together. Like, yeah, that's going to be quite pricey. And I think it's one of those things where if you can afford to do that, fine. But there's probably a better balance that could be struck between sticking to your principles and not shipping out to some Bangladeshi factory and personally knowing the white individual that's stitching the shirt together.
I'll update you later on. Now, on a similar note, I also wanted to mention something. You can look at role models. I've always tried to be a good role model. So young Western men, they have two options. They have Andrew Tate and they have me. Andrew Tate, by the way, if you are watching this, I would like to fight you. I would still like to fight you. K1, 3x3 minutes.
Okay.
Light heavyweight. I'm in no position whatsoever to call you out. So this is just a respectful offer to fight the potential future leader of Sweden. Now, for me to end up as the political leader of Sweden, it's a very, very small chance, but I'm still going for it. So this is my offer to you, Andrew Tate. If you don't want to, I completely understand. It's just if you think that would be a fun thing to do, then I'm all game. Just give me a heads up so I can start intensifying my training. But anyway, young guys, they can look at me or Andrew Tate. Of course, I'm not as famous as him, but anyway, they can look at us and they see me trying to go along a path of honor, trying to do everything in the right way, and then they compare with him, who has a lot more in many ways. Yeah, which is a better role model? I can't say. I would have hoped that it would be me, but then again, I'm in a bad situation right now, so maybe I'm not a good role model after all. I'm just saying this, and for everyone then in maybe the Swedish establishment, they are talking about misogyny and bad views and everything like that. Yeah, well, you had me, you could have. You don't need to promote me, no one needs to promote me, but you can also try to not place all of these obstacles in my way. So instead of a loving father of two girls who promotes chivalry and being a gentleman, then you have something else. Then you have someone who does not necessarily treat women in a respectful way. But it's, it is what it is. I just wanted to have that said. So anyway, to conclude, we need regime change and we need it soon. We need to change the system completely, because right now we have a system that does not motivate good things. It does not motivate the creation of families, because again, you can't fault these young couples for being hesitant when they don't even have anywhere to live, because the housing market is completely insane.
Yeah. But you're thinking this is based. That's so true. Not. He just wants to fight someone who's half black and Muslim. That's his goal here. Okay? He's looking at Andrew Tate, analysing his racial makeup and licking his lips.
You need to make it, attractive to work hard, so that you work and you can keep more of your pay instead of being taxed to death, and the taxes go to foreigners who aren't really contributing in any meaningful way.
I mean, the thing is like, let's be realistic. That is an extremely simplistic analysis of taxation, right? The idea that you give money to tax and it's ended up stuffed in the pockets of immigrants. Like, yes, some of your tax money will go places that you're not particularly comfortable with it going. But there's other things that it goes towards that undoubtedly you benefit from and you would want to support. And in Sweden, yeah, apparently there's state-supplied healthcare, education. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a bit silly to just hand wave that all away as, oh yeah, it's the immigrants getting it,
We need to look at making it easier with entrepreneurship. We need to look at making it easier to do good things, simply put. So yeah, regime change is absolutely needed. Otherwise we will continue to decay and decline, and no one really has any motivation to do anything. It's easier to just go on welfare. It's easier to even be a criminal or something like that, instead of putting in the work, trying to contribute to society in a meaningful way. So yeah, a tough struggle ahead. And
this criminal, he obviously talked about the police thing and he's not recommending it. Being a criminal sounds good, but it is, like, broadly speaking, a very thankless task. Like, it fucking sucks to be a criminal, It's a very, like, cockroach-like existence, unless you're, like, a very successful career criminal. I don't fucking know. You have some success in it, and you're able to, It's, you know, there's going to be like a fucking insane amount of like stress and pressure that comes on top of working a normal job. Scuttling in the dark and the shadows. Yes, exactly. And also, yeah, it's not like you're necessarily like making a lot of money off of crime is quite difficult. And you're probably going to be just getting by in some like shitter apartment. Yeah, exactly. There's a good reason 99% of criminals still live in the hood. 99%? Really? That's not what the stats show. That's a bit of an overstatement of the crime statistics. But anyway, in a small apartment they grew up in their parents' home, they aren't making bank and upgrading their housing situation. Yeah, it's almost like thinking it's like, you know, what do you call it? What's those games like Crime Boss City, and you get to a certain level and your fucking pad upgrade, whoo, and it upgrades a massive fucking... It's not like that, obviously. It's, you know... I'm saying that it's not 99%. Okay? More like 52%.
It's an important time in the history of our civilization. So we're not only talking about individual nations such as Sweden, it's a civilization-wide struggle we have in front of us. So it's productive, constructive forces against destructive forces, really. So anyway, if you do want to support my efforts, head over to legiogloria.com, place a big order. You can also go to thegoldenone.se to check out all of my other endeavors. You can subscribe to the podcast. That's also...
Okay. Also, okay, I am correct to be more fair to this guy, right? Because is he sat there going, I'm in a bad situation, here's a GoFundMe, give me $100,000? Or is he saying, if you want to support me, I believe what I do is important, but go and buy a t-shirt? Like, that to me is a lot more respectable if you're in a bad way, to be offering something for the support that you're getting. You know? Like, that's way better than just setting up a fucking GoFundMe. And bear in mind, Innuendo Studios, all he has to do is make fucking videos, and he can't be fucking bothered to do that.
It's a good way to support. And then lastly, you might ask, why do I do all of these things? Yes, it's because
also,
if I do
this guy's not watching his wife get fucked by blacks. That's for fucking sure.
everything right, if I do everything by the book, if I do try to maintain my integrity, I will have a shot. A small shot, but it's a shot I'm willing to take to ascend to political leadership in Sweden, to save my nation and to help save my civilization. I can only do this if I go along the path of honor, if I do run an ethical business here in Sweden. That's the only chance. If I do anything, if I stray from the path of honor, I give up any shot I have to ascend to any position of political power. So that is what I mean. I play life on legendary because there's a lot at stake. So anyway, that said, thank you for watching, thank you for your support. XOXO, boom!
Okay. Listen, if anyone disagrees with my perspective on this, you are too biased and you are too woke cucked by his love of Hitler, unfortunately. Or his defense of Hitler, I should say. I don't know if he loves him or not. But he definitely has made lots of comments that are defensive of some of Hitler's views. Make of that what you will, I guess. That was fun. I enjoyed that. That was a lot better than the lefty ones. Still a bit skeptical about his reasoning and what it could possibly be that caused this financial issue.